Yeah, so Heather said those item level images would be good for special collections where different copies have different neato things. And yeah, like, I always tend to, I phrase everything in public library terms where sure, you've got 15 identical copies of the new James Patterson and who really cares about item level cover images. But I'm sure Heather's got all sorts of interesting bibs with different items with different stuff in them.
Yep. And if you do look at your public library, Andrew, you could, if you had the time and you wanted to, is upload those subscription individual covers. So Martha's Christmas special or the Consumer Report ones, so people know what's on there. Now, it might be more time consuming, but maybe helpful to your user.
And with that, it is officially 10 o'clock. Or 11 or 9, depending where you are. And I've just shortchanged the Pacific people. That's how it goes. Anyway, welcome to our fall 2021 webinar upgrade webinar Q&A. Ooh, got all those words in there. This is a follow-up to the webinar, the What's New webinars we did a couple weeks ago. In the chat, Sarah has shared a link to the fall 2021 upgrade webinars blog post, which includes recordings of the previous two What's New webinars. Also, questions and answers of all the questions that were asked in those previous webinars. Our purpose here today is to answer whatever other questions you all have. So we don't have a ton of content here. We're just here to be available for whatever questions you have about what you've seen in the release notes or in those videos, things you had a chance to poke at on the Bywater demo site. Because this is a smaller meeting than those What's New webinars, you are all welcome to unmute yourselves to ask questions. There aren't so many of us here that seems like a problem. So go to town. Feel free to raise your hand if you want to get called on, if you don't want to just jump in and talk. But, and also feel free to put questions in the chat, which Debbie has done. So our first question comes from Debbie, who asks, what does a consortium need to know and anything to check first after upgrade? The fundamental thing you need to do after an upgrade is make sure to clear your browser cache the next morning. Beyond that, I don't have specific consortial things to watch out for. Try to think, what specifically? It jumps to mind as things you specifically need to check. In theory, our goal in upgrades is always post-upgrade, nothing has changed. Aside from bug fixes that were doing the wrong thing before and maybe got fixed. But really, these big upgrades are meant to add new features, but add those features turned off so that you can enable them if you want to, but it doesn't just change anything on its own.
So for example, purchase suggestions now will allow you to add personalized text per branch for a purchase suggestion. So not something you need to look for, but something you can do after you get upgraded is to start using some of these features specifically designed for multi-branch systems.
We have had, among our early adopters, we have several multi-branch systems, and they've been testing and reporting bugs, but we're getting those fixed as they come up. At the Q&A on Tuesday, we talked about something relating to pickup locations for item level holds. I know our developers are working on that now. They're currently in 2105, item level holds aren't defaulting to the same pickup location as bib level holds, which has caused some confusion. But we've already got some jQuery to address that, thanks to George from Knuckles, who's not here. And I know, as I said, our developers are working on a code fix to that. Now, Azucena says she's got a small change that she can't seem to hide. The birth date now shows on the brief patron information. Do you mean that little inset box to the left? Actually,
That's what I would assume she means. Yeah.
Yeah, let me pull up our test site, which I have misplaced. There we go. I want this one. So if I pull up a patron, it's me. And I don't have a date of birth, but I can see where it would be showing it to me. Let me give myself a birthday. I'm old, so old. Yeah, there it is, showing there. To my knowledge, there is not a system preference to make that disappear, but we totally could with CSS. It's clearly marked with its own class there. So we could absolutely hide that very easily with a little CSS. If you wanted to put in a ticket, we'd be happy to do that for you. I could probably stare at this for 10, 15 minutes and figure it out, but also Lucas would just know how to do it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that's not in table settings. I'm looking and it's not there. Yeah.
It's true. We've been sort of slowly moving stuff over to this brief summary. And at some point I can see definitely a system preference or something to let you define what shows there.
But while we're here, Andrew.
Oh, too late.
Too late.
Let me reshare. Oh, and yeah, as Susanna says,
Yeah.
record birthdays and all are empty, just extra dead space. I bet we could even, as I look at this again, I bet we could give you some CSS that would say just hide anything in this box that is empty. That'd be kind of slick. Show the things that have values, but not the things that don't.
And once that's done for you, and then we'll put it in our Q&A so everybody has it if they feel comfortable doing that.
For that matter, that seems like a fair bug.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that just being a setting. Do you want to see the empty ones, or would you like to not see the empty ones?
You scroll up a bit on that screen, Andrew. You can, I don't think we talked about, yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, we didn't really bring them up in any of the webinars because they're so small, but your patrons are now going to have these little icons, a shield to tell you if this is a staff patron. I guess the shield there indicates that this patron is protected from batch deletion because you cannot batch delete staff patrons.
That's a good way to put it.
And then a little lightning bolt to say this patron is a super librarian, which I guess indicates that they are able to unleash the wrath of Zeus upon your patrons at a moment's notice. I don't know how that icon was chosen, but I like the little quick indication there. My chat go.
Heather would like to be able to customize those icons.
I bet you can.
That would be nice.
Yeah, you could probably replace that. Use some jQuery to say sub out that shield and put in something else.
I'm interested to know what she would want to put, what
Wonder
Heather
Woman,
would
yeah.
want to put in there. Yeah.
Wonder Woman's not very maritime, Heather. And she lives on an island. Probably has an invisible boat. Or just she's generally Greek, which is broadly, yeah, okay, fair. I'm going to keep talking about Wonder Woman though, unless people ask other questions. That is the danger of this meeting. Unfortunately, I don't have that much more to say about Wonder Woman. It's
Wow.
true. Wonder Woman does work in the museum.
I didn't know that.
Not in every iteration, in those most recent movies, probably some of the comics.
Okay.
Before we just get totally derailed, does anybody else have Koha questions?
I have one. This is Rhonda.
Rhonda.
Hi, Rhonda.
Hello. So in the new release, you can reorder the subfields of the 952
Right.
in the item edit. But they're still not, the batch item modification does not seem to be impacted by that reorder. Is that true?
I believe that is true. Let me.
Yeah, that I did not specifically test. No.
Yeah, because I don't believe that batch edit follows frameworks in the same way the others do. But let's see, let's grab something first. Let me just get a barcode. Wonder Woman. I don't know if we have any Wonder Woman in here. Probably. Hey, the movie. Grab that barcode and actually do this the easier, smarter way. Yeah, so if I send that over to batch modification, everything's just in its default order. It's sorted alphanumerically through the subfields the way it normally goes. Whereas, I think if I edit that one item, we have changed our framework. Oh, maybe we haven't. Which framework is this in?
I think I changed it back after testing.
Ah, okay.
Sorry about that.
Cool. That's no problem. Let me go over to administration, frameworks, edit my default framework in the 952, edit those subfields. Framework setup is dense. There's a lot going on in here. I'm going to do something fairly simple and just take that subfield 3 and scooch it to the top. Take that. And then when I come back here to my single item edit, boop, boop, that's pushed my subfield 3 up to the top of the edit screen. But the real question is, am I going to see the same change if I take that thing and send it to batch modification? So in batch modification, yeah, we're not following that. That'd be a reasonable follow-up bug. I think ultimately the question would be, in batch modification, which framework do you follow? Because you could be batch modifying things from a bunch of different frameworks. I imagine, my guess would be that's why this enhancement didn't initially impact batch modification. But yeah, I'll follow up on that, see if the original bug discussed that question at all. And unless someone in there has already said, oh gosh, no, that's not possible, I'll follow a follow-up. No, file a follow-up.
Well, you bring up a good point, Andrew, is that unless you're going to only, Koha would say, oh, you're batch modifying things from various frameworks, what would they then do to show on that screen? What would happen?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I guess I think of that more as the tool than framework based.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
But a fun enhancement when it comes.
So
Muscle memory, like,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And then you get to the batch one and you're like, oh my goodness, it's all different order here. I have to
Yeah.
actually think now.
And I'll have to double check, but I don't believe batch item modification was discussed in the original bug. So.
following off of Rhonda's ticket, just want to mention that Rhonda is one of our early adopters, or Rhonda's library as a whole. So she's been on 2105 a little bit already, helping us test it out and find issues. I'm going to do a terrible job of spotting other early adopters in the Zoom right now. Azucena from Utah Valley is. I can't remember if Arlington Public Library is or not. I think they might be. Anyway, all our early adopters, thank you for being here, and thank you for being early adopters and helping us find and fix stuff. Carla asks, I missed the Q&A on Tuesday. Were there any cool questions that day? Cool questions is very subjective. What did we talk about?
I think the one about non-priority holds and whether there was a way to toggle to make a hold that was originally placed as non-priority, toggle that off essentially. That was one of, and it is not currently possible, but
I'm going to reshare my screen and show that though, just because I think non-priority holds are a cool idea.
yeah.
Let me go back to my title and place a hold on this. So in 2105, we're adding this little checkbox here, non-priority hold. If I check that as I place my hold, which is in violation of the circ rules, I'm not supposed to be able to get this DVD for some reason. I'll go ahead and break that rule. That makes my hold non-priority, which means it does not block renewals of this title. So if some actual patron has checked this DVD out and taken it home, I, meanwhile, as a tech services person, know like it needs to go in the DVD cleaner when it comes back. I want to put a hold on it to make sure I get it, but I don't really want to block their renewal. I don't need it to go to somebody else. They can renew it as many times as they want. So I make that a non-priority hold. I sit in the hold list, just kind of wait for that patron to be done. That would pair nicely with this existing feature, lowest priority hold, which says not only am I non-priority, I don't block renewals, but also always keep me at the bottom of the list. So if Sarah also needs Wonder Woman, I make a hold for her, she slots in above me. So I'm just hanging out at the bottom of the list, not blocking renewal and not getting in front of anybody else. So someday I'll get this DVD and I'll put it in the cleaner. But the thing we talked about on Tuesday is that there is no way to remove this non-priority status from here. I would have to cancel that hold and replace it as a non-priority hold. And we filed a bug on Tuesday saying we should be able to do that. So look for that to change in the future. Lost my chat again. Carla says, I'm guessing we'll be able to view both recordings later. Yeah, yep, we're recording both these Q&A sessions and they'll both go on that same website. As will just the individual questions broken out into.
I think that the reports that we talked about on Tuesday were pretty fantastic. The runtime parameters.
I do like the runtime parameters.
That's
And we
good.
got a lot of good follow-ups on that too.
Mhm.
Over in the reports module. And I'm just talking here, folks. Do feel free to raise your hand or put something in chat if you have an actual question. New thing in 2105 when you are writing a report is this button here, insert runtime parameter. So you know when you are writing a report and saying, I want from items where, and then you could say, type that in to make it ask you for a shelving location. That's really fun. I love runtime parameters. They're very useful. But what I just did required me to remember the syntax for that and the name of the authorized value and a bunch of junk. So if I wanted to do the same thing for collection, well, let's say item type. I could, instead of typing that all manually, use this cool new button. And just say item types, put a label on it, and inserts that for me. It figures it out. I'm particularly excited about it for branches, because branches, this is the one I always forget whether it's plural or singular. So it'll save me from that.
100%, 100%.
Harold asked if we wanted to create other values, do we simply create a new auth value list? Yeah, if you want to make your own like custom dropdowns for use in reports, you can just make a new authorized value. think of something not crazy to do with that. Just gonna click here. Authorized values are one of the options in this picker. If I say authorized value, then it gives me the same choice of label I want to put on that parameter, and then asks me to pick an authorized value category. And I can absolutely, as Harold suggested, I go over to admin. I can make as many new categories as I want. And then create authorized values in there. Sarah, I don't know your middle initial, and Kelly, I don't have enough attention span to put you in here. It's not personal. But now if I come back over here, might need to reload this page to make it work.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't have educators there yet, but now I have an educators category, and I can insert that. And then when I ran this report, it would give me Andrew and Sarah as my options. But we talked about this on Tuesday, and then folks pointed out that, let's see, what all did we hit? CN sort or CN source should be in this drop down. You can set a parameter to ask you for the source of classification on your items. Oh, what other ones did we find weren't there?
Barcode list, that was one of them.
Oh yeah, there's a new feature in here to take a list parameter so that when you run the report, you can give it, say, a list of barcodes and find all the items in that list. There's one other one that I'm blanking on right now. I'll have to go back and look at my bugs. But yeah, this is an exciting new button. I'm happy to see it. It'll make things easier. I know as we poked at this last time, folks asked what text field meant. That's for a parameter that is just an open box. I cannot type. Like that. We just don't do plain text boxes on reports very often, because generally we do have a controlled list we want to pick from.
Mhm.
There's all my books with titles that start with wonder, all 19 of them. Debbie asked, from the new enhancement, remove items from holds queue when checked in. Will this automatically do this, or do I need to do something to start it? Oh, that's a good question. It's one I should know the answer to. I don't believe there was anything you needed to turn on. Also, I don't know why I stopped sharing my screen. Double check that there is not a new system preference for that one. No. Yeah, and then let me see. Do we have anything on our holds queue right now? How did Christopher Zorn get into our class? He's a librarian. Well, let's see. So this is on my holds queue. Open up a new tab here. Check that. Which triggered my hold like we wanted to. Cool, cool. So then the question is, that should have just dropped that off the holds queue. So let me reload that page. And it did.
Yep.
Let me go find that bug and make sure that it didn't, 'cause like I said, we may have done something special here that I've forgotten about, but I don't believe so.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now, Andrew. I don't see.
And I know I've got it in my notes here.
Okay.
So quick, somebody vamp. Sing a song or something. I'd be
Oh,
very
I'm like, what
excited.
is?
Vamping?
Yeah.
Filling time. It's
Oh,
mostly a musical performance term.
okay.
I'll give 10 points to whoever happens to know the etymology of the word vamp. We have 17 librarians in here. I bet somebody does.
Without Googling.
Bug 24359 is the bug we want. And here's that bug. Yeah, nothing about a system preference there. I think, yeah, there is nothing to turn it on. It is just on now, which is a cool change. So previously, if you haven't been using the holds queue, taking a step back to the circulation page, the holds queue and holds to pull are both tools to tell you which items are currently available, like in the stacks, with holds on them, things that staff needs to go out and grab to put on the hold shelf for a patron. The holds queue is the kind of fancier version of that. It does some figuring out of which library's copy of an individual item should best be used to fill that hold. And because it does some more complicated figuring for you, it is not just always up to date like the holds to pull list is. The holds queue needs a script to run to go out and look at all those holds and pick the best copy. So generally we run that hourly, and this list, which right now says there are 32 items, prior to 2105, it would continue to say 32, even if some of those had been pulled. It would be a snapshot of holds for, the holds queue as it was when the job ran, which can get a little confusing. We print this out at the top of the hour. There are 32 things, and by the end of the hour, we've gotten most of them. And it's hard to know which you still need to find. So this is a just nice, easy thing. As we check each one of those items in, it drops off this list. I grab the next one. Doop, doop, doop. Ooh, our holds queue, I think, was a little out of date. That one didn't actually have a hold on it anymore, so it didn't drop off. This is a test site problem. Some of these holds have gotten deleted or canceled, and we have not updated our queue.
If a library's never used the holds queue and wants to use the holds queue, we would need to make sure that that cron is running. So just submit a ticket, and then we will start her up on that. But it was something that I never knew when I worked at a public library. And the question was, why are these things always showing up? But they don't show up on the holds to pull list because that is more of an instant. That's not doing any serious math. It's just showing you for your branch, your single library.
Does anybody else have a 2105 feature they're particularly excited about? Oh, before I say that, I'm going to answer Azucena's question. Azucena asks, is my Koha server going to explode if I turn on all the new shiny logs? No. Sorry, I can't say that with greater certainty. There's no reason why your Koha server should explode from turning on all those logs. Very worst case scenario of that would be some just performance slowdown. And even that is not expected. It's none of the newly added logs are so busy that they're really going to flood everything.
It used to be the checkout log or what
Yeah.
the circulation log was the one that there was a big warning, and that's even been removed. So the new logs like notices, like you're not doing a lot of edits to your notice log.
Well,
Reports, you know,
yeah.
maybe you are, maybe you are.
I suppose that's an if. If you are editing all of your notices over and over again all day, every day, I suppose that could be a problem. But mostly, yeah, the things these new logs aren't covering anything that busy.
I have extreme confidence in Koha not exploding.
I know.
I only ask because you guys limit me to only 30 days on logs because our Koha died because we do so many changes on our cataloging log that it just overfilled the server or something.
Oh.
So I only turn on the acquisitions, but I've been wanting to do authentication because I'm really excited about that one. And authentication, I figure, would be the next one that would be kind of large.
Honestly, if you're worried about it, I would say put in a ticket and talk to the systems team. Tell them, I would like to turn this on such and such a day. Please keep an eye out. Like that seems pretty fair.
Mhm.
Just kind of giving it the heads up. And maybe they'll have some great idea of a way to test that a little less live. But you know, the stress tests are hard because they really do rely on actual traffic.
Yeah.
Because flipping the log on your test site, sure, no problem. Nobody's doing anything there. We did talk in the webinar on Tuesday about how in the next version of Koha, 21.11, we will be able to set your logs to keep different modules for different periods of time. So at that point, I was just saying, you could start keeping your cataloging log for only 30 days, but the other logs for longer.
And I did misspeak. It was the cataloging log that had the warning, not the circulation log.
Right, because it contained all the circulation stuff sort of in a bank shot. Since technically circulation edits the item, but yeah, changed that long ago. Donna, now that you're here, you have to tell us your favorite thing in 2105. It's your penance for being late.
My favorite, well, that's not a penance for me, you know that. My favorite thing in 2105, one of my favorite things in 2105 is the hold reminder notice to come get your stuff. That has been such a popular question or popular need from libraries. I really like that one. So there's a couple of others too, but that one I think is going to be heavily used.
Yeah, for sure. That is a thing lots of people have been looking for.
You know, Christopher, I'm not really a fan of Bootstrap, so I can't. No, I don't even know what I'm talking about. So
that's a fair point. There has been a change to the. I'm gonna struggle on accurate vocabulary here. Change to some of the like nuts and bolts about how your OPAC is defined, which is likely to cause some issues around CSS and jQuery, where you've been pointing at specific selectors or indicators in the OPAC to like change colors or reorder stuff. I know Lucas has been prepping for that pretty hard to be ready for whatever changes that's going to push out to people. Yeah, as Susanna says, her OPAC was a mess after the upgrade. Our hope and our hope is that that's going to be a pretty rote set of changes. So if your OPAC looks weird after the upgrade, open up a ticket and we'll jump on that for you. Like I said, Lucas has been sort of game planning that, so he knows the things to watch out for.
So did y'all have any arguments when I wasn't here?
Not yet. What would you like to argue about?
Oh, I don't know. Usually the arguments show up when I'm here, so maybe it's me.
For our early adopters in the house, have any of you been particularly excited about a new feature? I've just been working with somebody to set up the new automatic check-in of items, which I think is pretty fun. This is a feature for like museum passes or seed libraries, things that you don't really need someone to physically bring back to the library, but you do want to track that checkout, who it went to, and maybe like meter the access to them, how often those things go out. So you could, in 2105, you can take an item type and say, this doesn't need to get returned. It's a checkbox. Why am I telling you this rather than showing you this? Let me explain what a screen looks like. If I go to my item types, seed catalog. We have a checkbox here for automatic check-in. Items will be automatically checked in once they reach their due date. So I check that box. And then I make circ rules for that seed item type, just like before. In fact, right now they're just falling under this all rule. They're still going to be due in 14 days, but I don't actually have to check that item in when 14 days are up. We set a cron job to run on your site every morning and go through all of your checkouts, find the ones that are in that item type and just return them for you. So for like, yeah, again, a museum pass where you maybe own 2 or 3 of them, you're only allowed to give them to one patron at a time. But I mean, all it is probably like you print out a piece of paper and they take it to the museum. So you don't need them to bring that thing back. You just need to make sure you don't give it to somebody else before that checkout period is over. So that's going to be a fun one. I'm interested to see what people do with it. I know we've got a lot of museum passes and seed libraries and what else? I've not seen anybody itching to use it for another thing, but we'll see.
I did have one library ask to use it for things like room keys. But that one I thought might be a problem because you don't really know that the key has come back to you, and having to automatically check in might be a challenge.
You mean like meeting rooms?
Yeah.
My brain went to hotel rooms and it didn't make sense. Okay. This is a weird
True.
library hotel? I don't get it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I know that some early adopters reported issues with the pickup locations on holds. Has that been addressed?
We've got a bug that our developers are looking at as we speak, and we've got jQuery to fix it in the short term.
Okay.
But yeah, I just filed that bug this morning and waved it around and yelled at people. That makes it sound like I was yelling at them. Yelled for their attention, maybe.
So for those folks that haven't followed it, what is happening now is there's been a change where the you can choose at each item level when you do an item level hold where that should be picked up at. And depending on your circ rules, it's not going to necessarily show as the same library that you're logged in at. So there's a lot of confusion with staff that they don't understand that you need to actually select that pickup location for that specific item. And that has come as a result of the indication that's been added if you're trying to select an illegal hold pickup location. So in attempting to fix that issue, it's just not clear that staff have to now choose that specific item level location pickup also. So, but again, there is some jQuery. We're trying to figure out the best way to address that because some libraries do want it like that and some don't. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to shake out.
And I'm finding an example here to show you what that looks like.
The jQuery will be posted in the Q&A update on the blog post.
That's the wrong thing. Okay, so I've got a title here with 2 items, and those items are at different libraries. One of them's at the Bookmobile and one of them's at Sparkly Unicorn Land. Just apparently one of our libraries. If I go to place a hold on that, our existing expected behavior is that at the bib level, my hold defaults to a pickup location of the library I'm logged in at. And it would give me a little pop-up here if that was not my patron's home library. When we get down to the specific items, we've got the jQuery in place. What we previously saw Koha do was make these individual, or make the pickup libraries for the individual items match the assumed bib level pickup. Let me real quick unfix this. Oop. I've lost my jQuery.
It's down a little bit.
I don't.
Oh, yeah, no, oh no, that was something else, sorry.
Huh. Well, y'all, I'm a little confused. Oh, you know what I did? I'm sorry. This is totally on me. I changed the home libraries of these and not the current libraries. Pardon me. I meant to change the holding library. I did a bad job. Confused myself. Okay. Pickup library at the bib is my logged in library of main. And then on the specific items, it is right now without any jQuery in place, defaulting this one to Bookmobile because that's the current location. Whereas this one is defaulting to main library because that's where that item is right now. So that is a change, and it has confused people for sure, because now if I just kind of autopilot down here and say I want to hold on this one, thinking it's going to do what Koha has always done, all of a sudden that hold is getting sent not where I expected it to be.
I think it's a problem too, in that, if the location is not valid according to those new rules, it'll be blank. And
Right.
It'll actually save that way.
Yeah, if I go back there. Oops, lost my Zoom again. If I told my Koha that, close some of my million tabs. If I tell it that Bookmobile should not be a pickup location, and try to place a hold. Yeah, so for that first item, it has not put Bookmobile there because Bookmobile is not valid. It's not allowed to send the book to Bookmobile, so it's making me pick something else. But I don't pick something if I just say place a hold. It forces me to do it, but it could be nicer. It could just assume what I want, and that same jQuery will take care of that. But we're also working on getting a actual code fix rather than just a jQuery.
Have there been any other significant bugs with this upgrade that you guys are working on?
There have been a handful of smaller things. The biggest trend I've seen overall is just the continuing work to make Koha be a little more picky about times where you're not really pointing it at something specific. That's a that's very, very broad. There are a lot of places out in Koha where previously, like if you said, go put a hold on this thing and it got a little confused about which title you meant, it would kind of muddle through and give you like its best idea. And we're moving toward making Koha a little more picky to say like, hey, if you've hit ambiguity, please don't muddle through and make your best guess. Please ask us to make you more specific. But overall, that has revealed a bunch of places where we needed to tweak code a little bit to avoid ambiguity, but those have mostly been quick changes. But I know we've gone through a pile of bugs there. Oh, you can get a server error if you do this weird thing. So we've been plugging those, but mostly they've been quick, easy plugs. Now I've said that, I'm sure I can't swear there is not some big thing I have just totally blanked on in this moment.
Our catalogers have discovered that the authority stuff isn't working the way it used to.
Rhonda, your mic was a little in and out on that.
Uh-oh. Okay.
But yeah, there have been some changes to authority linking that I think we need to spend a little more time with to figure out exactly what something has changed in there. I haven't gotten entirely to the root of it yet. Wow. On Tuesday, Donna threatened us all with dad jokes if we didn't keep talking. And then she told one and we all made fun of her. So I'm sure she's been practicing her jokes since then.
No, I'll just recycle the same one.
I've got one for you, Donna.
Go for
How do
it.
you know, how do you know when a joke is a dad joke?
I don't know.
When it's a parent.
Oh,
Pretty bad.
nice. See, mine was, what is a skeleton's favorite road? A dead end. Don't y'all wish you could work with me every single minute of the day? Kelly's really trying to keep herself composed.
I love you, Donna. I'm glad we have separate offices in separate states.
You're absolutely right.
Although I'm a pill too, so I can't, there's no judgments at all.
What do you call a wreath of $100 bills? Besides imaginary? A wreath of $100 bills. I don't know, Carla. What is it?
Not going to tell us. Huh?
Oh.
I like that one.
Oh.
I like that one.
I like that one. Nice job, Carla. Did Elizabeth tell you, Carla, that I was yelling at y'all last weekend when I went through there? I saw the exits off the highway for Smyrna and McMillan. Yeah, I was yelling like 2 Saturdays ago. You probably heard me as we drove through the interstate. Like, oh, it's Malo. Hi, Carla. Hi, everybody. Yeah. My poor husband has to travel with me. So what else does everyone have going on? Anything exciting that you want to share with other folks?
Our new library growing and getting bigger. Very exciting. We've got 3 floors now.
Ooh.
So when I was with Rhonda at Koha US, she was talking about her new library. And I can't imagine she's getting much work because she watches it all day long because she can see it right outside her window grow as, yeah. How fun is that? You have to send pictures every once in a while, maybe post them in partners Slack.
I literally had to wipe smut, those smudges up. Is my thing not working? I had to wipe nose smudges off the window the other day because somebody had pressed their nose up against it.
Somebody.
Somebody, yes.
Yeah, we don't know who.
You need to stop doing that, Rhonda.
Because it was a librarian, somebody.
I'm pretty confident it was a librarian, somebody, because that's all who's back here.
Sure was Rhonda.
Yeah. Shh.
Oh, Carla, we got to hang out.
It is 10:50. This Q&A was meant to go until 11, just for your time zone. By no means are you all required to stay here and listen to 10 minutes of bad jokes or excellent jokes, as the case may be. Also, we are still nominally open for questions, should anyone have more questions. Not to be a total buzzkill.
As usual, we will be looking forward to your feedback on the documentation that we provided and the process. We know that this is a little bit unusual doing 2 upgrades at once. So, change is good. But I think we're all looking forward to going back to the 2 upgrades a year so we can get those done a little bit easier. Harold would like you to demo, Andrew, improve handling of multiple covers on the catalog search results in the staff client. Are you familiar with that?
Not even a tiny bit. Let's find it. See what its deal is.
So allow multiple covers is the system preference.
To let you behind the scenes a little bit, we take those release notes and we split them up by educator, and we each cover a different section.
I don't know if this is.
I don't know which one of us talked about that one.
But is this new? Oh, Donna did. Okay, Donna, take it away.
So I actually, embarrassingly, I don't have a site up. Let me grab train real quick. So what this is doing now is it gives you the ability to have multiple item covers attached to a record, and it displays them in a much nicer way. So let me grab this real quick, move that out of the way, and share my screen. Okay, so for instance, this item here, so Pirates, has 2 images attached to it. You can see it's got the 2 little dots there. So it's got a local cover image and then an Amazon cover image, I believe it is. But you can go ahead and click on the dots to see the other cover images. So this is the Koche image from Amazon, and then this is the local cover image. So that will display both here and in the detail screen. There we go. So we'll see both the cover image and the Koche image. And you can have multiple ones of this also. So it's really kind of a nice way to have those different images there, particularly if you have different editions, or for instance, if it's a kit and you'd like to have multiple images of that kit showing up. I think the text, yes, always does show. That's something that I've been meaning to ask Lucas and have not gotten around to yet. But I think the intent is that it's supposed to help you understand where that cover image is coming from, but I would imagine it wouldn't be too difficult to hide that. So that's something we'll put on our notes to talk to Lucas about, if that will always show, because I think he was involved in that one. Cover image text.
Is this only on the staff side at this point?
Let's find out. I don't think so. Oh, no, it is. Oh, that's a shame.
Well, so then the question is somebody already writing the code to make this happen on the OPAC, which is quite possible.
Although I wonder if I have local cover images turned on the OPAC too. So we may not have the settings right on that one, but that's what it will do. I know there's the system preference to allow multiple cover images. I probably don't have that quite right, but you do need to have that turned on. But otherwise, yeah, no, there's nothing else to set for that.
That's really nice.
Marsha, I don't believe there is a limit to the number of those, no. Is there a change for bibs with multiple local images? Heather, meaning like you already have bibs with multiple cover images attached, local images attached, it should just do it automatically then, I would think. As long as you have that, show multiple cover images attached, you should be able to see that. Let's take a look. But again, since that is in the staff or the OPAC, we'll need to go ahead and double check to see if that's just something I don't have turned on yet. Oh yeah. Or if that's something that is not in the OPAC just yet. No.
You did not have local cover images turned on the OPAC. I just turned them on and it's now showing both of them, but not giving you the nice little buttons to flop between them.
Oh, so that probably should be an enhancement because I can imagine what Heather's records are going to look like because all the images will be down the left-hand side. So that will be definitely something to take a look at.
There's not a system preference that says like show something on the OPAC.
There's lots of system preferences to say show something on the OPAC, Kelly.
Yeah, I know.
I need a few more words.
I know. That's all my brain can tell me right now.
Like a show up to.
Yeah, like something. I'm just scrolling.
I don't think that there was a number. No, pretty sure that there's not a number as far as how many. Yeah, that's cards. So no, it doesn't look like there is.
I'm sure that Lucas could assist in this. I think that a bug should be filed as well, so it does get fixed or altered or updated.
Let's see here. So this is a great time to get feedback from y'all. What would you, so if we get this turned on in the OPAC, how would you want to control this? Would you want to say how many it can show? Do you want it to, how would you want it to work? What would be the best way to do that?
Images. Okay, there's a system preference that's called OPAC local cover images. So if you turn that off, what would happen? I wonder.
That's what I just turned on to make.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'll only show the one.
We want it to show, but only in that little tab.
Yeah.
Or as the.
Of course, now trying to search Bugzilla, we all know that can always be a challenge. Let's allow importing.
Here's a bug. There was one already filed saying we should show those multiple cover images on the OPAC. And I just commented on it to say, hey, we should probably make it do the same thing we did on the staff side because that looked nice. But that's the bug I just put in chat there. 26933.
Okay. And I agree with Harold that set priority, and Christopher, set priority over which image shows up first. Is it going to be the Amazon one? Is it going to be the local image? I like that idea to be able to do that. I also like the idea of saying only show X number of images there, depending on how everything works. So lots of options in there, but I do like the ability of having those cubes. Exactly. Yeah, so priority plus max. Heather has spoken.
I know we shout this out in a lot of webinars, but you all are cordially invited to go over to Bugzilla and make yourself accounts and post and comment there. By all means, do tell us this stuff and we can make those comments on Bugzilla. Me showing up and saying, I know 15 libraries who all want this to work this way is not as impactful as you all showing up separately as 15 separate librarians to say, I want this.
And I think it's helpful if you file a bug and want feedback, you could post it in the Bywater Partner Slack channel and just say, hey, I filed a bug. I don't know what the best way to handle this is, but this is my issue, or please comment on the best way you think this would be. Then you get more feedback, and it's going to be customized to help more libraries, just like we just did now.
Yep. And I do know Christopher's feeling of, boy, I've been starting fights on Bugzilla all day long. Everyone must hate me there. It has not been my experience that anyone actually hates me as much as I think they do. So mostly we're all human and we understand that I don't know, it's not personal. And see, Heather doesn't hate you.
Right. And
Let that go halfway.
I feel bad if I can't sign off on a bug and say, I'm sorry, this doesn't work. I feel bad, but again, I don't want something that's broken to come into Koha. So
We are now a little bit past 11
12.
or 12 or 8. I don't know.
We're past the top of the hour.
We're past X, where X is now for your local location. Anyway, that's all we had scheduled. Not kicking anybody out, but you're all free to leave. It is indeed cocktail hour somewhere. I'm officially encouraging you to go have a drink.
Cheers.
All right. Bye, everyone.